Morning, folks. Jeff here from Jeff's Cars. So, a little different angle on this today. So, as you can see, there's a couple Mercedes back there in the background, and there's a few extra cars sitting here because we've got a guest at the house. But this video today is going to talk a little bit more about Mercedes quality. Now, as you see in this driveway, there's a vehicle missing. Yes, my GL350 I recently purchased is missing. So what I'm going to do today is talk about that, because it is no longer with me, at least for the moment, and I can't get the Mercedes dealership to really own up to a few things. And so, I've even written Mercedes, and they're just not owning up to, right now at least, the fight is on. So, give me a moment here, and I want to talk about that while I'm standing behind my trusty 560 SEL. Now, some of you have seen this car from the Idiot Car Guys, and by the way, thanks for the subscribers. I'm getting close to 100. I think I'm at 84 or 85 subscribers. So please share this with your friends. I keep trying to come up with some content and things like that. Make some suggestions down in the comments of comments, or for content, and maybe I can come up with that. But I'm a Mercedes guy. I've got more videos coming on the Lincoln Mark V, but this one really has gotten to me. Yesterday was a very difficult day. Well, actually, the last couple of days have been a very difficult day because of getting Mercedes to own up to some of their to their problems. Which I didn't know about until after I purchased the vehicle. But, so, on the 2015 GL350 Bluetec diesel, there was a Mercedes put out, and this is all over the web, and I've got some chicken scratches and stuff like this on here, because I've done my research, but Mercedes put out an extended modification warranty. Now, what that includes is various different things, but the other day, my wife and I was taking her into Omaha to a doctor's appointment, and I was going along the highway, 70 mile an hour, and then all of a sudden the dash lights, all the caution lights, the yellow lights on the dash just went bonkers. Everything was just, speedometer quit working. Well, actually, the cruise control is the first thing. It disengaged cruise control, and then the traction control light came on. The speedometer quit. The tachometer quit. Fuel gauge, temperature gauge, everything just quit. The only thing I had was GPS and the radio. Even the climate control quit. Thought, oh my goodness, this is, do I pull over? I did. I left the engine running and looked at my wife, and I said, well, we can't park here on this highway. The car's going by 70 mile an hour. I said, it's not safe. So we moseyed on and got to the airport that's alongside the highway, pulled off into the airport, and couldn't turn the car off. The vehicle would not shut off. I'm going, good grief. And so finally she just held the button, which, by the way, that button is going away. It figured out that you just pop it off and the key will work, because learn something else, that for the glow plugs you got to tap it twice, wait, and then push the brake and tap it. I mean, it's too confusing to start a diesel. For a gas engine, it's not a big deal, but for a diesel, you need to have the glow plugs come on, especially on a cool morning. So, but that's another thing. I didn't even read the owner's manual to figure that out. She was reading that while we were driving, because I was asking her. I said, this is diesel. I said, I want to get rid of this button. Put a key in and hit it to on, wait till the glow plug light goes off, and then you start it. And that's what we're going to do. But, see, got sidetracked. Squirrel. But anyway, got pulled off the airport, and finally, after over a minute of holding the button, the engine shut off. Well, guess what? Couldn't restart it because we shut it off. It was in gear, and it would not go out of gear. So it was, I guess there's a design stating that we'll go ahead and keep you running, but you don't know what your systems are doing. And air, the air suspension is going to fail, and it's not going to pump up. So much crazy design that I appreciate Mercedes that you keep the engine running on an electronic failure, but really you need to have a backup. It's a computer, you can create backups for it, but and they may now in the 2024. But I actually got a complimentary tow by Mercedes. When I called the dealership, I said, "Hey, I'm broke down." I said, don't know what to do." I said, "How do I get it into park?" And they told me how to put it doesn't even have a foot pedal now for parking brake. So, but the same lever is still there. So you push the lever, it puts it into park. That functions when all the other electronics are failing. I'm surprised, but okay. So Mercedes, the Mercedes dealership gave me the number to, I don't know, breakdown, whatever they call it, roadside assistance or roadside. And since it was my first time, and I'm the second owner of this vehicle, I got a complimentary tow from the airport to the dealership. And so, but then to call back and let the dealership know that, hey, this is coming. Well, and the dealership says, we can't get you in until July 9th. Almost 3 weeks away. Well, 2.5 weeks away. Oh, must be busy. First thing that comes to my mind, and this is the same dealership I took the vehicle to about 3 weeks prior to that, or 2 weeks prior, maybe 3 weeks prior, because somebody told me that, well, modern day diesels, they're not supposed to clatter like my 300 SD. It's a clattering diesel from the 1980s. All diesels back then, Cummins and you name it, they all clattered. I mean, that's a diesel. Well, guess what? This was modern day diesels. They're supposed to be nice and smooth. And if you listen to the Duramaxes and the Cummins and the Cats, there's no clattering. They've really improved the diesel engine, but this one clatters. And so I took it to Mercedes, and the first thing out of them, they charged me $200 for a diagnostic and said, you need to replace the engine. And here's the cost, $39,000 to replace the engine. I looked at the guy and I said, seriously? You're full of it. And not those exact words, but it was a little bit more. And I said, no, you didn't diagnose this. All mechanics do today is they diagnose stuff by computer. Well, the check engine light's not on. We don't really have any other way of determining what's going on. I said, seriously? You don't have a stethoscope anymore? And so I argued a little bit, and I said, well, here's my $239. Okay, it was a $197 diagnostic fee plus a $35 shop fee. You didn't use any shop rags. You didn't, there wasn't any chemicals or anything that you had to dispose of, but I got charged an extra $35 shop fee. So it was I don't know what the bill was, $229, $229 or something like that. Gave my credit card, and they said, yeah, your vehicle's out back, all washed up, ready to go. If I needed a new engine and it was a catastrophic failure, why did you let me get in it and drive it away? That's point number one. But got in it, drove it home, drove fine, been using it around here until just the other day. So in my packet of information I've been accumulating on this vehicle, I get out and it says extended modification warranty for 2009 to 2016 OM 642 and OM 651 Bluetec 2 diesel vehicles. And extended modification warranty shall cover the following parts: Of course, this was on the catalytic, the blue def stuff that Mercedes apparently got in trouble for by the EPA or something or other. I don't know the whole story because I really haven't gotten to it, but it comes into diesel oxidation catalyst, blah 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 blah. Temperature sensor unit for the def temperature, exhaust temperature sensor, particulate matter PM sensor, emission modification categories, and all this other stuff. But then page 2. NOx sensor, ooh, yes. Fuel injectors, air intake throttle, which, by the way, on my diesel, it's got a little soot coming up off the back of the engine in the engine compartment. Let's see. That's where the air intake throttle is. Good point there. Exhaust gas, the EGR valve, EGR duct, EGR cooler, EGR temperature sensor, intake manifold air distributor, or intake manifold charge air distributor, turbocharger including VGT actuator, seems to be running fine on that one. Engine control unit hardware when replaced as part of approved emissions modification. Transmission control unit hardware when replaced as a part of the approved emission modification. Don't know if that was replaced, but keep that one in mind because I got a diagnosis on the breakdown. Hydraulic control unit hardware when replaced as part of the emission modification. Onboard diagnostic system, that's the OBD system. Cylinder head assembly components, camshafts, valves, springs, valve spring keepers, valve seats, cam bearing caps and manifold studs. Engine timing chain, keep that one in mind. Intake manifold pressure sensor, instrument cluster hardware were replaced as approved emission modification. Coolant thermostat, and a crankcase ventilation valve including line heating and element. So, all those things are included in this extended modification warranty. I get a call yesterday. Get a call from Mercedes. Well, we were able to get your vehicle in, and because we had a spare slot open, and we determined that the wiring harness to the transmission failed. It got loose or something or other, and failed to function. It was like it was pulled out or something. And I said, interesting. I said, so a wiring harness that's next to an exhaust system that y'all did under warranty for the emissions, portion that was completed on April 16th of 2021 at 71,283 miles, which I got that information by calling the original selling dealer and the servicing dealer, that they did all the blue def modification. I said, those components are very close to each other. Do you think it might have got bumped? Well, we're not good. We can't really determine that. Really, dude? Geez, you had to move stuff out of the way in order to get this stuff done. But I said, I'll take that for another time. I said, but let's go ahead and fix it. I said, but here's the next thing. I said, I have an extended warranty starting soon. When I bought the vehicle, I didn't think I wanted to put one on there, and then I thought, maybe I better. It's more than I could probably afford, and oh, good God, this diagnostic and repair is getting up there already. I'll tell you that in a second. So I went ahead and applied for one online. Actually, I did two of them. One for, European foreign cars, and then just another one that was recommended by a friend of mine. Well, neither one of them are into effect, or at least they hadn't gone into effect during the breakdown. Or at least, one of them, yes. One of them was actually just going into effect, but I hadn't filed the claim because I went and looked at what is covered, and guess what? The harness is probably not covered, but we'll see. Anyway, so I told him, I said, well, let's wait till Monday, and I said, and I'll make a decision. But go ahead and order the part. I said I'm probably going to pay for it anyway, and not even file it against the claim. But I said $2,000, huh? And this is what it was cost. It's going to cost to repair that. $1,936 was the estimate to repair that. And I said, that's a pretty expensive bill. I said, $2,000 to repair that. I said, so, and that's going to fix this? Well, yeah, that'll fix the issue that you had. I said, okay, so now let's talk about something else. I said, obviously, you can't start the engine unless, I said, well, the first thing, let me back up. I said, can we just butt connector it together? Because apparently what had happened is it come loose and it fallen against the exhaust, and so it melted a couple of wires. I said, well, can't we just splice it in there and butt connect them together and just move on? Well, I can't guarantee anything. And I said, really? You don't guarantee anything? He said, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, I had this vehicle in the shop, a couple weeks ago or 3 weeks ago to your dealership, and said, to have a clattering noise checked out. I said, because I was told modern day diesels aren't supposed to clatter like that. And I said, and y'all told me I need a new engine at $39,000. Well, I don't know about that part of it. And I said, well, no, you don't, because you haven't looked back on the service records. I said, I have the entire service record history for this vehicle. I said, here's the problem. And I said, you can go out all over the internet, and I said, and it's a problem by Mercedes, but y'all don't want to own up to it. Number one, I said, that is a timing chain failure. That clattering noise gets louder when you open up the oil fill cap, because guess what you're looking down at? The timing chain on the right-hand bank. Mercedes, come on now. When the noise gets louder when you open that up, guess what? That's where the noise is coming from. And they actually did that in their video for me at the service part. But they said, internal engine noise, unknown to origin, replace engine. Seriously? Take the front part of the damn engine apart. There's where your problem is. Don't you pay attention to everybody else across the country and across the world? I said, this is a common issue for these. Furthermore, Mercedes, you even state right here in your modified, extended modification warranty that you cover the timing chain. Oh, wait a minute, but Mercedes, you have a problem with chains stretching. Timing chains, and also, guess what? Part of the, what you call it, the all-wheel drive system, the transfer case chain, also slips. I found that out on the internet. But you don't want to deal with it, and the dealers on top of that don't even want to deal with it even more, because guess what? When they go to do the warranty claim with Mercedes, the dealers probably are having a hard time getting paid by Mercedes. I wrote Mercedes about 2 weeks ago, and wrote Mercedes Regional, Midwest Regional. You think I'd get a call back? Not on your life. Never got a call, never got a letter, nothing. Folks, I own 1, 2, 3, 4 Mercedes-Benz. Have owned as many as 7 at one time. I've owned various different models in years, and the one that I liked the most was the R350 that I sold because, well, I was offered pretty fair amount of money for it, and quite frankly, it was a very good vehicle, and it did us very well for more of a modern day Mercedes. But you know what, Mercedes? You have a problem. You have a quality problem, just like a lot of other manufacturers, because you're building things too fast. You're not putting the time and the effort and the energy into engineering like you used to. Go back to this era and look at the quality of these cars compared to what you're building today. Guess what? There are a lot of W126, 123s, a lot of these chassis, these models on the road still today, but people are hanging on to these because guess what? I can get in this thing, start it up. Yeah, it puffs a little smoke when it starts because it sits for a while and the oil you know, the oil is getting past the valve seats, but you know what? It still runs and drives, and this thing's a pleasure to drive. Get back to the quality that was built when these were, you know, when the quality when these were built. That's my rant, folks. You know, it's a buyer beware world out there these days, but I am sick and tired of getting, you know, dealers are charging $150, $170 an hour to repair your vehicle or whatever the cost is. Probably, yeah, it's over $100 an hour, and they can't even fix anything. They rely on computers. You know, if it's not throwing a check engine light, they don't know what's wrong. They don't know how to diagnose. They're technicians. You know, the days of taking an engine apart and putting it back together, that doesn't exist. I mean, you go and find a dealership that says, oh yes, we have ASE certified mechanic or ASE certified technicians. Really? Are you? Can you rebuild an engine? That's my rant. Folks, hit subscribe if you want to get some more rants, things like that, because every now and then something bad happens and I'm stuck with it. Thanks for watching. Click to subscribe. Put your comments down below. Any suggestions on what I got to do to, you know, to get Mercedes to cover that daggum timing chain? Which, by the way, in the service records, it's been replaced once already. Had about 26,000 miles on that GL350. So there's a problem. There is a serious problem with those. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.